I've been asked to do some movement guides on Portal 2, and I think eventually I'll do something on bunny hopping and more importantly circle jumping. But I first wanted to release this little companion piece, sort of talking about what I think is like the big glaring picture of how to improve your times in Portal 2 that doesn't relate to just improving individual tricks on maps. Um, a normal runner, when they're trying to get a time on a map like dual lasers, they watch a demo, they go, okay, so you shoot up here, you go down here, shoot under here, shoot this portal, press against that, and then in their head, they go, okay, how do I improve that? I gotta do those few portal shots really quickly, right? And once I do that, the level becomes mine, and then all of a sudden, I've got a great time, and I'm hitting world records. That was bad. Um, but what a lot of people miss out on when they're trying to figure out how to improve their times is there's like time on the ground is very important on a game where you bunny hop everywhere, you spend a lot of time in the air. Time on the ground can kill your runs. Wait for her to shut up. Okay. One problem I see a lot with new runners who are trying to learn to circle jump, and a lot of this comes down to just getting a better circle jump. But they'll sort of walk out of the elevator when it starts, and they'll sort of do this, or they don't know what they're doing. They'll just sort of jump over here, get jumping, something like that. Once you get to a level where your circle jump is you're confident in your circle jump, you really do just want to be clearing this gap like immediately. And I'll show you what I mean when I restart the level here. Top level runners in the elevator will just hold W, and then the second they see their character move forward, they're letting go of W and they're performing a circle jump. You're really not walking out of the elevator at all. That was a bad circle jump, but you get the point. And sure, some of this comes down to having a good circle jump and knowing how to circle jump, all this, all that. But this idea of spending as little time like on the ground as possible can be seen like everywhere. Like you really do just want to minimize the amount of time that you spend just walking around from place to place. I see this so often in demos from like bad players, decent players, brand new players, or even older players, is they just spend too much time in between little things. Like a door opens up and they'll walk out of it and then circle jump. The elevator opens, they'll walk out of it, then circle jump. Just little things like this. And sure, you're not going to be able to eliminate all of this, but it should be part of your practice. I think a part of the problem is that they don't necessarily realize how much time is being added up when you're losing 0.2 here, 0.2 there, with how competitive that Portal 2 can be at a high level in challenge mode, or even at a low level on certain maps. On maps like Portal Gun, for instance, where, saving 0.2 is the difference between, rank 15 and rank whatever, that's a bad example. But there are maps where you really have to maximize. You have to get the most out of every single movement. Like, okay, this is, I don't know why I brought up Portal Gun. But here's, I'll show this. Okay, so this part gets a lot of people when you're in Portal Gun and you've got to hop through this office space. It's tricky to get down, but like at a high level, there's like an exact set of moves that you do to get through here. Like, you sort of hop through here, hop over here, and then you sort of continue these hops. You sort of go wide here, continue the hops, go under here, circle jump under here, and it's basically just about like minimizing the amount of time that you spend walking or moving around slowly. And it's been massively important for me improving my game, like on all sorts of maps. I'm trying to think of where a good example. Oh, Bridge the Gap is a good example. When I was trying to improve Bridge the Gap, and I had like a 1730 or something like that, some runners talked to me and they were like, well, your problem where you lose a lot of your time is just you hit this door and then you just take too long to circle jump out. Like you're just wasting time there by like prepping your circle jump or walking
Good
too far
news.
forward.
I figured out what to do with all the
And
money I saved
that's like
recycling
an
your one
important
room full of air. When you
and
die,
that's sort of
I'm going
something
to
important
laminate your
to
skeleton and
realize
pose you
about
in the
running
lobby.
this game
That
is
way
that like
future...
little movements, or
Good
this is a
news.
bad way to phrase it,
I figured out
but
what to do
like
with all the money I saved
little amounts of
recycling your
time
one
spent
room full of
not
air. When you
doing what
die,
you're
I'm
supposed to be
going to
doing
laminate your
really
skeleton
hurts
and
your
pose you in
game.
the lobby.
Um,
That way future
the
gen...
best way to improve is to say, do I need to do this? Do I need to spend this time walking? Do I need to spend this time doing this, that? If you do, that's fine. But watch demos, and when you watch demos from good runners, you know, you watch a Zype world record, you know, on a map like I don't know, Dual Lasers is a good one. Is he hitting those shots really, really quickly in
Don't
Dual
let that
Lasers?
horrible
Yes,
person
he
name
is. He's
discourage
really
you.
good at it.
It's just a
But he's
data
also
point.
really not
If it
losing
makes you feel
time
any
by
better,
like walking around, like
science has
walking
now
out of the
validated your
elevator.
birth mother's
You know, he's
decision
not
to
walking around
abandon you
here,
on a
jumping
doorstep.
needlessly, looking around. You know, I see this a lot too, where people will just jump where they don't need to. You don't need to jump everywhere. Like, something like this, there's no reason for you to jump out of this door and try and curve around. Like when you can just walk straight through here and hug that corner really close. A good example of this, I talked about this briefly in a tutorial I did, is prop intro. A lot of people on this map will just jump out of the elevator at the beginning when that just doesn't save any time. A jump is a great way to save time if you're trying to build speed, because with jumps and strafing, we really can build speed quickly, and that's why it's the fastest method of normal movement in the game. But in a case where like you're getting out of this elevator and you're jumping over here, you're just wasting time. It takes roughly like 0.7 seconds to finish a jump, and it's not helping you. You're not building up any speed jumping around this corner here to like shoot this shot. And I did this at first too. But you really do just like want to walk out, shoot it, and then continue on with the level. I think this is like there's tons of little examples I can find everywhere of where people are just missing out on time save by just doing little things incorrectly. So just when you're watching demos of high level players, or you're watching a video, you're watching all SP world records from Zype, something like that. Take notice of where he's doing something differently than you, and then say, okay, well, you know, he's shooting these portals really quickly. That's because he's a good player. You know, he's shooting this, going over here, doing everything fast. Cool. You know, he's practiced a lot. He's really good at that. But also see, you know, he's leaving here. He's not jumping out of the elevator. So when you're doing this, think, why am I jumping out of this elevator? Am I saving time here? No, I'm not. And it's actually, most of the time, the reason that a runner doesn't do something is because it loses time. So if you're doing something for no real reason, if you're spending time walking somewhere, you know, I walk out of the elevator before I circle jump, or, you know, I jump out of this door when other runners walk, there's probably a reason that they don't jump or they walk, or something along those lines. And a timing difference like 0.4, 0.7, 0.1 even, things like that might not sound like huge deals to you, but they add up quickly. And if you're you know, walking out of a portal before circle jumping every time, or you're walking out of the elevator before circle jumping every time, you're spending a lot of time on the ground, or you're jumping where you don't need to be jumping, that time compounds really quickly. And what was 0.7 is now, you know, point like 8, and now it's 1 second, and now it's a second and a half. And you know, a run on this map that you get that's 14 seconds long could have been, you know, 13 something, even with like a slow shot. You know, like it really comes down to making sure that you just maximize your movements everywhere possible. This video is a little rambly, but I hope I got the point across. Just try and make sure that you spend as little time as possible, you know, wasting time on the ground when you're trying to hop, and make sure you don't hop where you don't need to, and just try and watch what higher level players do, and learn from them, because it's really easy to watch like a basic route and see that, oh, they do X, Y, and Z, I should do X, Y, and Z, like in terms of how the actual run progresses and what tricks are involved. But what is also really important are just those little movements and how they get from point A to point B, where it's not super eventful. You know, they're hopping 3 times or something, but you just want to pay attention to those little things because there's probably a reason that they do it at such a high level. Anyway, rambly video aside, this will probably be mentioned in my other movement videos that I hopefully will make soon.